And guys, this is the first time we are doing a LinkedIn live, so forgive us for any mistakes as such. But I hope everyone can see the screen. Aliba, can you confirm, please? I'm taking it as a yes. So, hey guys, welcome to the stream. Today, I'm going to talk about the CTEM platform that we have built. Before that, I would start with a quick introduction about myself and the journey that we had in the past, and the reason of solving this particular use case in the cybersecurity space as such. So I'm Akhil, I'm the CTO co-founder at Strobes. I come from an offensive security background, been in this industry for almost 10 years now. I come from an offensive security background wherein I used to provide offensive security solutions for global companies. And then I slowly moved into the engineering side as well. And now I kind of handle mostly the engineering at Strobes, but I'm very well versed with offensive security, vulnerability management, and much more. So that's about me. And the reason behind building this platform is our we personally faced a lot of challenges in our past while providing continuous threat exposure or vulnerability management solutions to our customers. One of the biggest challenges out there is providing like a unified view of the entire organization exposure as such. Even today, a lot of the organizations still prefer using Excel sheets, even when they are, in 100 members teams or 10 members teams or whatnot. And it's really difficult to streamline their, offense security or vulnerability management as such. So today the objective of this entire live is to introduce you guys to our platform. It's There has been a lot of hard work that went into building this platform in the last 4 5 years, and we have built different modules and features that are really helpful for right from enterprises till startups. So I'll give a very short demo since this is just our first live, but the objective is to keep these lives happening, and throughout the weeks we will talk more about how the platform can be used, what are the specific features that can solve challenges, let's say for enterprises, startups, a specific use case, or even partners, and so on and so forth. So I'm really excited that you guys joined this live. I hope at least few of the people are watching it, but hoping so. And we will also have this recorded, and we'll share it with you guys later. So here we go. So I'm hoping that the screen is visible, and you're looking at this dark screen. And also we are very user experience friendly and UI friendly. So we also have the product in multiple themes as such. One is the dark and the light version of it. So what you're looking at right now is the dark version of the platform, and it's entirely multi-tenant platform wherein each of our customers gets their unique URL as such. And then even from a region perspective, we are hosted on multiple regions like the US, India, EU, and so forth. So if you have data localization policies, we are very well aligned with those things as well. And from a security certification standpoint, we are SOC 2 Type 2 certified. We do that every year. We have been SOC 2 Type 2 from a couple of years now. And we take, being a cybersecurity company ourselves, we take security really seriously as such. So, so what I'll do is I'll just give you a walkthrough of the modules that we have on the screen, and then I'll deep dive into the CTEM module and keep the rest of the modules for the future demos as such. So let's start with CTEM. CTEM is the continuous threat exposure management module, which is like the father of everything. Like it's a combination of RBVM, PTAS, ASM, and vulnerability intelligence as such. Then we have risk-based vulnerability management, also an ASPM platform, wherein if you want to solve the unified experience of doing vulnerability management or unified experience of doing application security, you can go with that module. And then we have PTAS, which is pen testing as a service module, wherein if you want to offload your pen testing work uh, in needs with compliance or in needs with your internal governance and whatnot, you can use our pen testing module. And then we have a attack surface management module. This is our very lightweight kind of a module wherein if you want to understand what's your threat exposure from a external standpoint, then you can subscribe to our attack surface management module as such. And then we have something really interesting, VI, which is called as vulnerability intelligence. You can, view vulnerability intelligence at vi.strobes.co. It's absolutely free. All the APIs are available, and you can even download the entire zip as entire archive as a zip as well. So what we do is we maintain a very comprehensive archive of all the latest CVEs, and we enrich those CVEs with information like exploits, 0 days, POCs, exploit predictable scoring, and much more. So I'll keep it for the later demos, but this is one of the very important parts in our entire Strobes ecosystem, because it complements your vulnerability data with all this threat intelligence that helps you prioritizing your vulnerabilities far more better as well. So going back to my actual demo, let's talk about CTEM. I launched the module, and this is what you can see over here. We have this home screen that gives you a quick glimpse into what you can expect while you're using the CTEM platform. So I'll go one by one. I'll just try to, walk you through how do you set up the CTEM platform, and at end of the day, what are the results that you can expect by setting this CTEM platform. So if you go one by one, like in between, we have something called suggested workflows. So the way Strobes platform works is it has a feature called connectors or integrations as such, right? So you need some data coming into the platform, wherein the platform will understand your threat exposure in terms of application security, cloud security, container security, and much more. So we have something called suggested workflows, wherein you can, perform things like continuous SCA and SBOM, continuous DAST, continuous cloud security, continuous container security, secret scanning, SAS scanning, and whatnot. If I just click on explore more workflow options, I have a whole range of workflow options that are available on the platform. So if I just give you a glimpse on what are the type of tools that we support, by the way, we have this entire list available on our website as well. Do check out. But the categories that we support at the moment are we integrate with dynamic application scanners, also famously known as DAST. We integrate with static application scanners, also known as SAST. Then we integrate with infrastructure scanners or network vulnerability scanners like Nessus, Tenable, Qualys, and so on and so forth. And then we have report importing tools. Like if you have existing reports in the XML formats or JSON formats, you can just dump those reports as well. And then we integrate with issue tracking tools like Jira, ServiceNow, ITSM, and so on and so forth, so that whatever is coming onto the platform can be orchestrated and sent back as tickets onto these third-party platforms as well. And then we have integrations with asset inventory tools. Again, for the platform to work and for you to understand the exposure from a better way, in a better way, you might need to maintain a robust asset management or an asset inventory, as well as the findings or the vulnerabilities at one single place. So the platform helps you out with that. You can also orchestrate notifications in terms of what kind of emails have to be sent, what kind of notifications have to be sent to your Slack, and so on and so forth. So you can integrate with those workspaces as well. Since we heavily support application security and threat exposure as well, so we integrate with DevOps tools as well. So all your CI/CD pipelines can be connected, and the vulnerabilities that are discovered within those pipelines can also be accumulated on the platform. Then we have cloud scanners like CSPM, and then container scanners and asset discovery tools as well. So you might already realize that we are very tool agnostic as such in terms of what we support. All these integrations are built to make sure that we cover the entire attack surface of an organization. I just want to give you a heads up over here that whenever it comes to integrations, we kind of support our customers in a great manner. So if you have any integration that is not available on Strobes, we're more than happy to build that for you guys in let's say a couple of weeks time, and so on and so forth. Again, terms and conditions apply. So if those integrations have very well versed APIs and it's widely used tool, we can make that happen very quickly as such. So going back to the homepage. So I was talking about how you can integrate with all these different tools, and once you integrate, you will start receiving assets and vulnerabilities. Integrations are pretty straightforward. All you have to do is integrate using API keys, or APIs, and then the data will start coming in. And if you look at the other information, like let's assume that you have integrated all these tools, the next thing that we will be able to see is some stats or available information about your data. So one important stat that we give on the platform is violating SLA. So once the vulnerabilities come onto the platform, you can write some SLA policies. So if I just click on this edit violation rules, so this is a page wherein you can write your own SLA rules or policies. So for example, over here, I've mentioned that info issues have to be fixed within 12 months, low issues have to be fixed in 2 hours, and so on and so forth. So you can orchestrate these rules. And once you set up these rules globally, all the vulnerabilities that are meeting those conditions will have an SLA applied. So over here, if you're going back, you can see that there are 500,000 vulnerabilities that have violated an SLA. That means you need to take an action. And likewise, you have a KPI on how many issues have been patched. So over here, you have about 35,000 issues have been patched. And if you go back to the start of the demo, I was talking about vulnerability intelligence or Strobes VI, right? So the data also comes and enriches all the vulnerability information within the platform. So over here, you get a stat about how many 0 days are available within your organization. So that is a very key metric that you might want to look at as well. And coming to the attack surface from each of the tool that you have installed. So the entire objective is, you have all these application security scanners, network scanners, cloud scanners, but you really need to understand like what coverage each of these tools are providing for you. So you have the Strobes SCA, then you get information like how many vulnerabilities did it report, how many findings have been actually resolved, and how many assets have been imported using that particular tool as well. Likewise, another important stat available on the platform is risk-based prioritization. So even though 140K vulnerabilities have been reported, but you can see over here just less than 1% of the vulnerabilities need an immediate fix, like which is about 868 vulnerabilities as such. Again, the platform, like I said, integrates with different threat intel tools, gives you the ability to prioritize the vulnerabilities based on various information, which I'm going to show in a while, and helps you reduce or make sure that you focus on the right set of vulnerabilities for patching as well. The other information is like when was the last thing that has happened with this tool. So you get that stat as well. You can just click on sync now if you want that sync to happen right away. But the best part is that you don't have to click sync now every time. You can just schedule all these syncs and they happen on a day-to-day basis as such. If you go down a bit, the other important aspects on the platform that are available is an asset reduction stat. So over here, the entire focus is about how many assets have been imported onto the platform. And within those assets, how many of those assets are crown jewels to your organization. So let's try to deep dive into this. So you know that there are thousands and thousands of assets within organizations, can be applications, endpoints, servers, and whatnot. Within those, there might be static applications, like just like a marketing website or a static website that is developed in WordPress, or can be an endpoint with very low risk and so on and so forth. So you know that within your organization, not all assets are very important to you. So the platform gives you the ability to mark your crown jewel assets. So let's say within those 3,000 assets, you can mark your crown jewel assets, which are like domain controllers or some cloud accounts or some cloud instances that have extremely high permissions, like IAM roles attached to it and whatnot. So you can mark your crown jewels as such. And once the vulnerabilities are reported to it, within those crown jewels, you can also visualize how many are actually high risk to your organization. So you can clearly see that there is a pattern over here wherein you have about 4,000 assets, but within those 4,000 assets, there are just 175 crown jewels. And within those 175 crown jewels, there are only 50 assets as such, which have like critical vulnerabilities or high prioritized vulnerabilities as well. Likewise, the same stat is applicable for findings as well. Findings are nothing but the threats, alerts, or vulnerabilities, misconfigurations that are coming from these different tools. So you have the total findings that are reported onto the platform, and how many of those findings have like a CVSS score greater than 9, like CVSS is an industry standard. Then you have how many are actually high priority for your organizations. Again, this kind of gives you a better picture. Like, for example, not all the vulnerabilities that are reported with a CVSS score greater than 9 is really important to your organization. So this takes the high priority vulnerabilities takes asset context into your consideration, as well as the vulnerability intelligence that we were talking about in the start, and gives you the focused element on how many vulnerabilities you have to patch, and so on and so forth. So on a very high level, like on a just from the home screen, this is how the platform works. Like, just to give a quick recap, you go and you set up all your input sources, wherein the assets and vulnerabilities come down. Then you orchestrate rules like notifications, SLAs, and whatnot. And then you get this quick stats on how many vulnerabilities have violated SLAs, how many have been patched, and so forth. And then you get asset reduction data from each of these tools installed, and then likewise the asset reduction data, finding reduction data, and much more, right? So this is about the home screen that we are visualizing over here. If you move on, the other important parts, like there are many features that are available on Strobes. One of the important features is dashboarding or reporting. So every organization has their own way to visualize data sets, or visualize their vulnerability management, threat exposure, and whatnot. So as a part of it, Strobes provides 5 or 7 different dashboards for the customer, but does not limit in terms of what you can create on the platform. So we call Strobes as like a CRM. Gives you the ability to customize as much as possible from a cybersecurity standpoint. So over here, we have this risk summary dashboard wherein you can visualize the risk timeline. What you can do over here is you can look at your risk score at the current point in time. Like the current score is about 98%, but you can also look back in time, because we are holding the entire vulnerability information as well as asset information as such. So you can even look back in time and understand from a security standpoint, are you improving, decreasing, and whatnot. There are other informations that we provide to the customers, like a timeline of vulnerabilities that are coming onto the platform. Also gives you the ability to visualize how many findings are reported, how many of those vulnerabilities have a high priority score, and so forth. Likewise, you will be able to visualize vulnerabilities with respect to their severities that are coming from these vulnerability scanners. Findings by exposure, like you can visualize how many of these findings are on private facing assets versus public facing assets. And then you can visualize a stat about how many vulnerabilities are new, active, patched, resolved, not applicable, duplicate, won't fix, accepted risk, and so forth. Again, one of the amazing factors about Strobes is that it gives you the ability to manage the entire vulnerability lifecycle. So it's not just that a vulnerability comes onto the platform, it's open, and then you patch and it gets resolved. But you can even manage like the less, known states like not applicable, duplicate, won't fix, accepted risk, and so forth. So Strobes has the ability to give you the customization wherein you can mark a vulnerability as not applicable or accepted risk, and come back in time and look at the vulnerability, like in case from a governance standpoint, you want to know like why is it being marked as accepted risk, or why is it marked as a not applicable vulnerability, and so forth. Likewise, from a finding and CVSS mapping, you will understand how many vulnerabilities are distributed across the different CVSS scorings. Then top 10 CVEs, findings by operating system, especially works when you have a lot of endpoints and you're doing network scans on servers and so forth. One more good thing about Strobes is that you can create business units, or you can create different views, right? So over here, I have something called asset view, and I have created many different views. And views can be like business units, or a region wise, or a certain asset group, and so forth. So I can even, drill down or visualize all the data that is available over here by my asset group as well. Likewise, I can also visualize this data from my vulnerability grouping as well. So you can drill down the data, you can, view the data by a particular group and whatnot. So there is no limitation over there as well. If you move forward a bit, the other dashboards that I want to explore and I want to show you guys is the patch and SLA summary dashboard. Over here, obviously, the primary objective of doing vulnerability management or threat exposure is to, do that entire life cycle of patching, right? So over here, you get a list about, what are the vulnerabilities that are reported, how many have been violating SLA, and how many are in compliant with your SLA, like how many vulnerabilities have been patched in time, and then the turnaround times to resolve these issues, like are you patching them fast, are you patching them slow, so you get the average turnaround time to patch those issues as well. Likewise, a cumulative way to understand, how many vulnerabilities are reported and how many are closed, how many are open, and so forth. So you can see a pattern over here. Like you have the pattern in terms of Q3 of this year, you have about 8,000 issues that have been patched. But if you look at the open issues, there are about 500,000 vulnerabilities that are still open. So you get a cumulative way to understand how many issues are open versus closed as well. Now, the other feature that I'm very excited to show you guys is about, the ability to customize dashboard. So over here, I created a dashboard called CFO reporting. And this is pretty fun. Like the way you end up over here is that like I said earlier, Strobes works like a CRM. It's like it's so powerful that you can add or customize fields. You can add or create your own dashboarding or reporting as well. So here I created a CFO reporting. Let's say there is an X organization. They want to visualize from, finance and loss to their organization perspective. They can create the customized dashboard. So over here, this dashboard is entirely customized and built from scratch. So there is this widget called revenue at risk for a certain group. Then there is this total risk volume and SLA status with high risk and so forth. And if you look to the left, we have different widgets that are available for you to customize. You can clone these widgets or edit these widgets to apply different views or filters and just drag and drop onto the dashboard so that you will be able to see the data. So it's very customizable in terms of what kind of reporting you can see on Strobes, right? So this is one of the most used features by our customers. They really love it because the ability to just export these dashboards in a JSON format, and then we give it to the customers, and that's how we scale. So customers do come to us, ask us, hey, I do have this requirement of visualizing, let's say, AppSec data. Can you make that happen for me? We just create a data dashboard, and then they just import it onto their platform, and here we go. They have that reporting available for themselves. So moving on, so that is from dashboarding and reporting perspective. Again, like I said, it's highly customizable. The ability to add widgets, remove widgets, and whatnot. That's really customizable as such. And also, in the interest of time, we do not have a lot of time to explore all the features. Like I said, we are going to do these demos very frequently. I'll go a bit fast over here. So the other features that I want to really show you guys is the asset management page over here. So we have this asset management page wherein you can visualize all your assets from one single point. So you have the total assets number, which is about 3,000 assets or 3.5 thousand assets that you're managing. Assets with a high risk score that is greater than 90. You have that KPI over here. Total risk volume for public assets versus private assets. And if you scroll down a bit, you have this beautiful data table over here that you'll be able to visualize all your assets by name, risk score, sensitivity, exposure, asset type, cloud provider, when was it created, who created it, what's the cloud region. And you can also even add custom fields over here. Like for example, I added a field called business unit, vertical, revenue, asset owner. So there is no limitation in terms of what you can add as fields. Just like a CMDB, you can add as many columns as possible, just like an Excel sheet. So we made it really friendly. And even from a visualizing standpoint, what do you want to see on the screen? You can even customize that. So that kind of ability is available on the platform. Likewise, the other things that you can do is export the assets in a CSV format. You can export a risk report. You can export a overview report and so forth. You can even apply filters. Let's say, for example, you want to visualize the UK business unit assets. You can, apply different, filters and visualize those assets. The filters are available on, the easy way, like wherein you can just apply the column level filters and visualize data, or you can even use our advanced filters wherein you can apply groups and rules, and we use something called a query language in the backend, wherein all your data can be drilled down or deep dive into as per your needs. The other thing that we have over here is the finding page. So over here, the beautiful page that you're looking at is the vulnerability management page, wherein you would be able to visualize all the vulnerabilities at one single place as such. So over here, you have something data available from Zap, tools like Nessus, Nexpose, Qualys, and much more. Again, just like similar to asset management page and the data table that is available there, you can do all those things on the vulnerability management page as well, like create views, apply filters, use the fields. You can even group the vulnerabilities by, let's say, CVE, or group the vulnerabilities by asset, titles, and whatnot. That is entirely possible on the platform. And just like the asset management page, you can export the findings in a CSV format, threat summary report, CVE overview report, or the best part, you can even create your own template of PDF, and then you can generate a report as well. So that is entirely available on the platform. And if you want to see how does a vulnerability page look like, you just have to click on, let's say, any of these vulnerabilities, and this screen appears wherein you can visually look at the information with respect to the vulnerability, like what's state of it, what's the severity of it, which tool has imported, what's the prioritization score, what's the mitigation that is available, what are the activities that have happened, what's the overview about this vulnerability, affected endpoints, and a lot of other information is available as well. And if you want to, look at the entire vulnerability information, you can just click on View Full Information. You will head towards this amazing vulnerability view page, and it gives you the entire information about the vulnerabilities, the activities, and whatnot. Uh, Also, from a vulnerability management standpoint, you can even add comments to the vulnerabilities, or you can even orchestrate and send to Jira or ServiceNow as tickets as well. And the best part is that we have a two-way sync with Jira and ServiceNow. So whatever changes over there also reflects back on Strobes as well. When I say two-way sync, you can map the comments, states, and severity. So whatever changes over there comes back onto the platform as well. So moving on. So the other thing is that, before we end this demo, I just want to talk about a couple of other features that we have over here. One is the ticketing that I was talking about, wherein you can do two-way sync with all these tools. So you have this page wherein you can visualize how many tickets have been raised and what are the vulnerabilities associated with it, when was the last sync, and what's the current state of it. So this can be your patching kind of a page wherein you can visualize how many tickets have been raised and how many vulnerabilities have been patched, and so on and so forth. Likewise, the other feature that I want to talk about is role-based access controls. The platform is very robust in terms of object level permissions and roles. So there are different types of roles that you can invite your team members with, like manager, member, read only, and custom level, field level access. And you can even give them asset group level restrictions as well, in terms of if you invite a user as a member, you can set up access controls in terms of what asset views or what asset groups they can access as such. So in the interest of time, on a very high level, this is how the CTEM platform works. Like this is our introduction to the Strobes ecosystem as such. But in the future demos, obviously, we'll deep dive into specific use cases around fintech industries, or certain use cases for compliance, taxonomies, and whatnot. And but if you have any questions and if you want to explore the platform for a POC or trial, feel free to hit me on LinkedIn or even on Twitter. And I'm more than happy to give you a very specific demo for your organization needs as well. Have a great morning, great evening. I hope you love the demo. But for today, we are signing off. The recording will be available, and we'll make sure whoever has attended this live will make sure to roll it out. We'll also post it on LinkedIn as such. Thank you so much for joining. And here we end the demo.